Hey everybody, another day on the farm, more work to do. Sorry about that. Alright, so we need to get our oil changed soon, but that's not what I'm talking about. Today, we are going over to Mommy Magic Cakes in Mount Airy. Shout out Mommy Magic Cakes. Never had one, but I'm going to today. But I'm not just going there for cakes. I'm going there to get some food grade buckets, because bakeries, they use frosting. Frosting comes in food grade buckets, and
why today?
So frosting comes in food grade buckets. Frosting comes in food grade buckets, and maple syrup requires food grade buckets in order to collect into. You don't want to collect into any old plastic because you might get that plastic in your syrup, so food grade is good. So we're gonna go get some food grade buckets from Mommy Magic Cakes today for free, because they're trash to the bakery, but they're treasure to us. All right, so we're gonna go do that. Mommy Magic Cakes, woohoo! Hey, we got a bucket, at least one bucket, and went ahead and picked up some cupcakes for my parents. They look pretty good. I got 2 carrot cakes. My dad loves carrot cake, and so do I. And then I got a chocolate peanut butter for my mom. So it should be a good night. We're gonna head back to the farm and we're gonna tap some more trees. Freaking favorite thing to do. Woohoo! Okay, so we made it back from the bakery, and we got our bucket. Got a hole in it, and we got our tubing with the tap already attached. We got our drill, and we got our hammer, and we got our dog. So we are all ready to go. It might be a little rainy right now, but it's not gonna take very long. We'll be back in the warm house very soon. So here we go. Gotta tie my shoes. All right. Let's go. So here's the maple tree that we're gonna be tapping today. It's got a nice big crown at the top and lots of leaves on the bottom that fell off the tree. And that's a really good sign, because the more leaves on the ground, the more leaves on the tree. And here's a maple leaf right here. This is what they look like. The more leaves on the tree, the more sugar that tree is producing during the summer. The more sugar the tree is producing during the summer, the more sugar goes down into the roots during the winter. The more sugar that goes down into the roots during the winter, the more sugar comes up in the form of sap when it thaws out a little bit. And that is how we get our maple syrup. So here's the finished product. Sorry that was a little low. Problem is we're running out of line, so I want to be as economical as possible with my usage of it. So I tapped it pretty far down on the tree, just so I didn't have to use all that much lime. But here it is. This is how it looks. Thanks for following along. Hopefully we'll get some good sap out of this one. Thank you, tree. I forgot to check on the chickens. It's like 5 o'clock. They might be up in their roost. They might not be. But I got some oats. Not gonna give them all of this, but I got some. Hey, you guys are all up for the night. Don't worry. I brought you some treats. You want some? You want some, Red? Alright, I'm gonna leave the rest of these on the ground. You can give them tomorrow. Or you can jump down and get them. But anyway, have a good night, chickens. Sorry I forgot about you today. I won't tomorrow. Got some more philosophy for you. Today, The Tao of Pooh by Benjamin Hoff. Now, The Tao of Pooh is a very interesting philosophical book because it takes the principles of Taoism and explains them through the stories of Winnie the Pooh. So it's a really fun thing to read. And for those who don't know, Taoism is an ancient Chinese philosophy that comes out of the Warring States period in China. And its main principle is to follow the natural order of things, to follow nature. Nature is perfect in that it is very harmonious. You know, everything kind of supports itself, this cycle. And humans, our job is to learn to yield ourselves into this cycle, and that really all problems, all these human issues that we face are because we are resisting the natural way of things, or we are trying to make it into something of our own. We're trying to change nature to fit our needs, but really we need to change our needs to fit nature. So it's interesting. So let me just read from the book. And yeah, hopefully you'll like it. Okay, this is page 22, if you're following along at home. The essence of the principle of the uncarved block is that things in their original simplicity contain their own natural power, power that is easily spoiled and lost when that simplicity is changed. The basic Taoist principle applies not only to things in their natural beauty and function, but to people as well, or bears. Which brings us to Pooh, the very epitome of the uncarved block. As an illustration of the principle, he may appear a bit too simple at times. I think it's more to your right, said Piglet, nervously. Pooh looked at his two paws. He knew that one of them was the right, and he knew that when you had decided which one of them was the right, then the other one was the left. But he could never remember how to begin. Well, he said slowly. But no matter how he may seem to others, especially to those fooled by appearances, Pooh, the uncarved block, is able to accomplish what he does because he is simple-minded. As any old Taoist walking through the woods can tell you, simple-minded does not necessarily mean stupid. It's rather significant that the Taoist ideal is that of a still, calm, reflecting mirror mind of the uncarved block. And it's rather significant that Pooh, rather than the thinkers, Rabbit, Owl, Eeyore, is the true hero of Winnie the Pooh and the house at Pooh Corner. The fact is, said Rabbit, we've missed our way somehow. They were having a rest in a small sand pit on the top of the forest. Pooh was getting rather tired of that sand pit and suspected it of following them about because whichever direction they started in, they always ended up at it. And each time as they came through the mist at them, Rabbit said triumphantly, Now I know where we are. And Pooh said sadly, So do I. And Piglet said nothing, as he had tried to think of something to say, but the only thing that he could think of was, Help! Help! And it seemed silly to say that when he had Pooh and Rabbit with him. Well, said Rabbit, after a long silence in which nobody thanked him for the nice walk they were having, we'd better get on, I suppose. Which way shall we try? How would it be, said Pooh softly, if as soon as we're out of sight of this pit, we try to find it again? What's the good of that, said Rabbit. Well, said Pooh,
if we keep looking for home and not finding it. So I thought we'd look for this pit and we'd be sure not to find it, which would be a good thing, because then we might find something that we weren't looking for which might just be what we were looking for, really.
I don't see much sense in that, said Rabbit. If I walked away from this pit and then walked back to it, of course I should find it.
Well, I thought perhaps you wouldn't, said Pooh. I just thought.
Try, said Piglet suddenly. We'll wait here for you. Rabbit gave a laugh to show how silly Piglet was and walked into the mist. After he had gone 100 yards, he turned and walked back again. And after Pooh and Piglet had waited 20 minutes for him, Pooh got up.
I just thought, said Pooh. Now then, Piglet, let's go home.
But Pooh, cried Piglet, all excited, do you know the way?
No, said Pooh, but there are 12 pots of honey in my cupboard, and they've been calling to me for hours. I couldn't hear them properly before because Rabbit would talk, but if nobody says anything except those 12 pots, I think, Piglet, I shall know where they're calling from. Come on.
They walked off together, and for a long time Piglet said nothing, so as not to interrupt the pots. And suddenly he made a squeaky noise and a ooh noise, because now he began to know where he was. But he still didn't dare say so out loud, in case he wasn't. And just when he was getting so sure of himself that it didn't matter whether the pots were calling or not, there was a shout in front of them, and out of the mist came Christopher Robin. Yeah, I like that. It's a good story. And well, the takeaway that I have from it is that, how do I articulate it? It's like the mirror mind. The mirror mind allows us to respond to our environments. Okay, let's just work it out. The mirror mind, it's showing the power of the uncarved block. The uncarved block is like the simple state where we're just, blank. Like water, as Bruce Lee says. When water fills the cup, it becomes the cup. And you pour it into a bowl, it becomes the bowl. You pour it into a pot, it becomes the pot. It takes the shape of what it's in. And I think that's kind of the uncarved block is that since it's uncarved, it can be carved into anything. It can become anything. And that our minds, it would be wise for our minds to behave in this way already, because the problem of not having the uncarved block, of having a pre-carved block, is we create a reality in our minds of what we think is. So for Rabbit in this case, Rabbit created a reality that he was the best at finding his way home. And so he knew that if he would just go and search for home, he would find it. But really the reality is that Rabbit had no idea where he was, and he had no idea how to get home. And I think Pooh recognized that and told him to not look for your house, or not look for where they were. Instead of look for your house, look for where they were. And in looking for where they were, Rabbit tripped himself up and eventually found his way home. But also, in this story, once Rabbit leaves, Rabbit is this source of, I've got the right idea, follow me, I've got the right idea, because Rabbit has a lot of pride in his own navigational skills, which clearly was a false sense of pride. So that's that false conception that we have. And Pooh, on the other hand, is a very humble character and just kind of responds to the moment. So for him, like a very simple thing, he wanted his honey, and he knew that his pots of honey were calling to him. And it's kind of a funny example of it. But I think what it's the deeper underlying thing is that when we have a stillness of the mind, we are able to listen to those very subtle elements that are guiding us to where we want to be. And so for Pooh, once Rabbit left, once the source of pride, the source of arrogant ideas, the source of I've already got it figured out, left, his mind was blank to follow that deep intuition to guide him home, and that's how he was able to get home. So yeah, I think that's cool, and that's something that we can use in our own lives when there's a difficult situation, when we're lost, when we're looking for something, or even when we just have some sort of problem, like any problem. Instead of thinking of all of the places all of the ways that we can find it, all the ways that we can go back home, and thinking of it like through intellectualism, thinking of like logic, sometimes it can be good to let all of that go and just think nothing and just follow what's there. And I think that is the power of the uncarved block. So let me know what you think. Thanks for watching. Hope you have a great night.